Hi there, it's the Items Forum and welcome to episode number 5 of Let's Build a Vet Clinic in The Sims 4. So in the previous episode we finished the entire body of the build, and now we're going to be working on the landscaping around it, which should probably be done at the end of this episode. I hope so, at least. But yeah, that's something we'll know at the end of this episode, I guess. I read your comments with regards to specifically these windows, and many of you said you didn't really like them, so I think I'll leave it this way, and then maybe once I start working on the interior here, I will actually start adding different windows, because I realized that there is really not enough light in that area. But for now I think I'll go with what we've got, and just add some not natural light, simply because the body just doesn't look as good if you have to add the windows to the sides of it. So yeah, also I'm having a cold, so I might sound a little bit different than normally, but yeah, there's not too much I can do about it. I hope I don't have to sneeze like crazy in this episode, and otherwise I'll probably cut it out. But yeah, that's something I'm very curious about for this episode. I'm very happy to see that all of you are so into this Let's Build, because I really see many comments, and you really try to give feedback, which is always very useful and very much fun to read. So thank you for that. And then I am doing my best to finish it as soon as I can, because I know that many of you want to download this build, which is cool as well. And therefore I'm really going to try to finish the entire landscape in this episode, which is probably going to happen. I believe I promised it in the last episode as well, so I probably should. Then here we're going to make some entrance, but I have to figure out what tiles or stone or whatever to use, because that is always sort of relevant. We can go for something modern, and with regards to colors, you seem to be happy with it. There were different groups, people who did like it, people who didn't like it, but many of you did say to like the gray, so I think I'll just leave it this way. And then I'm just going to add some color with the garden, which is something you said as well, or at least something you said as well. You could also add color by adding different plants and stuff, which is what I'll be doing, I guess. So these are my favorite trees from this new expansion pack from Cats and Dogs, so therefore I'll be adding those to the front of the build probably. I'm not too sure if I should go for that fall look, because of course we now have quite some trees with fall colors. In case you don't exactly know what I'm talking about, I'll quickly try to show you the tree which shows that best. I know that tree also shows it pretty well. You can add fall colors, but this one is crazy, because you really have that division sort of. Yeah, that is something I still have to figure out, but I personally really think that this is the biggest hint they could have given for the fact that seasons will be the next expansion pack. I hope so, at least. Would be really cool, because very many people want seasons, and personally I think seasons is really cool as well. But then I do hope that there will be a very tropical world with the pack as well, because that is really the thing that I'm missing. A tropical area where I can build island houses, but then super tropical island houses. I know that we've got an island in Brindleton Bay as well, but it would be even cooler if we would have those clear blue waters and white sand, that kind of island. So yeah, maybe someday, well, yeah, it will probably happen, but I hope it will happen as soon as possible. But yeah, now we've only just had the release, so we should still really enjoy the latest release, in my opinion, until we start thinking about the next thing. You should always be happy with what you have, and then yeah, not start thinking about what you could also have too soon. Here I'm adding a fence around the build. Normally, this is something I don't always do. I do it quite often, but not always, simply because I often forget about it, or I don't really think it looks nice. But for a pet or a vet, something with pets, so in this case the vet clinic, I think it is definitely necessary to add like a fence around it, because otherwise the pets might walk away, which is something we don't want, of course. And especially considering that I'll be adding like a playing area for the cats and dogs over here, it is not really a good idea not to add a fence around it. So therefore I just added that fence there. We should also do something with fountains, because that's just cool, if you ask me. It sort of stresses that modern vibe of the build, and generally just looks cool. So that is sort of a cool place to add water, I think. And then maybe we can even add like, or make this entire area water. And then with fountains you can always only change the color by changing the floor. So I guess that's what I'm doing. Let me see. We should add a little border around it. I thought we had, yeah, we do have more borders. Those were the pool borders. Yeah, there we go. And then I've got to figure out what color looks best. This might look good. A little bit darker, a little bit more fancy. And then some cool like water structures in it, or waterfalls or whatever, simply because those are always cool. Or at least I think they're pretty cool. There we go. Does that work, or is it strange? Might work better if I place it there. Then I've got to use the cheat move objects on. And then this might actually look better. Yes, it does. And then if we turn it white or gray, it fits the rest better. But in this way, it is more part of the fountain, if you ask me. So I'm going to leave it this way. And then we're adding these balls here simply because those are pretty modern as well, which is sort of cool. Oh, and you actually see the water if you turn them black, so that is cool. So we're making these black as well, and that way, like, there's a unity in the fountain, I guess, which is sort of cool. Oh, recording with like having a cold is just not really the thing you want to do, or at least, yeah, maybe also not the thing you want to listen to. I'm not sure, but yeah. Please bear with me. Yeah, I still think these stairs over here are really cool because they really create like a, yeah, sort of a cool different aspect in the build. Not very many of you actually commented on this. I believe a couple of you did, and you said you liked it. So I guess I'm just going to leave it the way it is because I personally like it as well. So, and it's like functional because it makes build look like better. So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing. Now I think I have to see what I can add in the garden for like the pets in this vet clinic. This for instance, and we've got these loops, and I've heard that you can, if you place 3 loops on a lot, you can actually make sort of a parkour of those loops. So that's pretty cool. And then we've also got these, which don't look as modern, so I'm not too sure if I'm adding those. Maybe it looks fancier if we're just going for like these more modern things which we currently have on the lot. So then I am going to add some fencing around here, or at least some division, and of course I have to make it look good, sort of, and in this way it is way too simple to look good. So I'm going to make sort of a division between the path and the area where those like attributes will be. There we go. And then we've got to change the color of this as well. Here we go. So also, by the way, I'm planning on doing a new speed build as well very soon. And if you have any suggestions for me what I should upload for that speed build, let me know, because yeah, I just realized that you could actually just leave any suggestions in case you have it, or like requests, or whatever you want to call it actually. But recently it's been sort of hard to find time to record because I have been sort of busy, and yeah, I'm just way more busy than I used to be with all kinds of different stuff. So I do my best to record as much as I can, but it is simply not always possible. And then you see people uploading daily and you're like, how do they do it? But yeah, I'm doing my best, please know that, but it doesn't always work out the way I want to. But at least with these Let's builds, it's easier to upload regularly because these simply take a little bit less time to record. Still, I don't upload these daily because I do need some inspiration in order to record them, and also I feel like, yeah, it would be an overkill of Let's builds otherwise. But they do help, if you ask me. Is it? Yeah, no, that's actually pretty good. I really like how we can finally size plants down now, because that really helps a lot with creating like the plants, or at least just the garden. So that is just a super cool tool. And then I think I'm adding these trees here, by the way. But I'm not too sure about the color. Because to turn them into fall trees, these are more like spring trees, the way they are with the blossom. So I think it would be sort of strange to have like clear fall colors, but we can have this difference between these two. I think it would make it look more natural, I guess, which can't be bad. Isn't an overkill of trees? I'm not sure, because they are sort of big. Of course, now I could size them down, but yeah, I'm not too sure if I'm not using the fall color, or if these are the trees I should use, or if I could better use these trees, for instance. We've got also, whoa, I've never seen, this tree doesn't look really good, because the color is way too bright, if you ask me, or at least not a realistic green color. But that could be me not actually seeing it well, but I believe I'm not colorblind, so I should be seeing this, and it's not really realistic. In real life, you almost never see a tree with that color. I think I will add 2 trees. That will look better. So removing these. And I do want to sort of try the new ones, simply because they're new with the pack, and this build is focused on the new expansion pack, so then it's best and coolest to use those new items. So then we should remove these parkour items and then just create like exactly the same flower bed, I guess, over here as well. So yeah, again, we're sizing this a little bit down, especially with these ones, because they're often like sort of big. It's super useful to be able to size it down. And also rocks, that's sort of what they made it for. They told me that with rocks they're often way too big, and also paintings, but also potted plants like inside it's very useful to be able to finally size those down, because yeah, it really depends on the size of the room what size potted plant you want. So in the end, they're really that good on adding that feature, if you ask me. So this is cool. Then I think I'm going to turn this into regular grass, or at least this part. Yeah, I'm still going to make it more realistic by adding like some other colors as well, don't worry. Because in this way it's sort of too green, but if you add some brown, this is just a little tip from me generally. If you add like some brown in it, it immediately looks like more realistic, if you ask me. And just generally looks better, because otherwise it's just one. Yeah, it's more realistic, doesn't look better. Yes, it does, because it looks more realistic. But what I wanted to say wasn't really meaningful. So I guess that is what I'm going to be doing to this part. Like this. We also want to have some kind of seating area, I guess, where you can like watch your pets, I guess. Here we go. Yep. And then that seating area can be in the middle here, probably. Sounds like a good plan to me. It's not going to be anything spectacular. Generally, I don't really feel like this will be a spectacular garden anyways. I'm not too sure why, but yeah, it is still like sort of a public building, so you're not going to turn it into like an extreme homely garden, because it simply is not. But I sort of have to find a balance between making like a good looking garden and still making it realistic as well for like what it's going to be used for. Let's see if we have any new like little benches. Yes, we have this one, but I'm not too sure if this suits like the place. Yeah, okay, I'm not too sure. Also because I don't like the glass, honestly. I don't think the glass is cool. And it's like a super modern building, then I shouldn't be adding that. This is just not a good plan. So what I will be adding instead is some cool like these chairs, design chairs, simply because, you know, it is a special building. It is really a designer building, and then you do have to add some good furniture as well, and not your regular wooden picnic table sort of. So then this will be better, and then maybe just a little table in the middle as well. And then that would have to be black, because otherwise it's sort of all white, and it seems as if I didn't think of the color, I guess. And then we're going to, let me see, add something on top. Oh yes, we can now finally size this one down as well. I'm super happy about that, because this one was always too big. It's like definitely looks like an open egg sort of cut in half, but then with like a plant in it. But it was always way too big, but now we can finally size that one down as well. So that is fun. And then here I'm going to make a little parkour as well, for like cats or dogs or both or whatever. Here, I'm not too sure what they work like, but I think I'll just place them in some way and then hope it works that way. Here we go. Oh no, I don't want to use the big one, I want to use the smaller one. And then the smallest one, because in that way, okay, I don't think they would be able to hoop through this. Okay, maybe I do have to use the realistic sizes, because otherwise it's going to mess up. Because they will jump into like those loops, because they're too close together. There we go. This looks sort of fun. I mean, if I would be a dog, I would like to jump here, I guess. And that's important. There we go. That looks sort of, yeah, it almost looks like a piece of art in the garden, if you get what I mean. Some crazy sort of modern art, which you as a child always thought, how is this art and what should I do with it? And you just started playing with it. Then I guess this is sort of an example of that. So that is sort of, you know, it has a double meaning now, or double function. So now I'm going to add that grass all around, because once I start adding the grass, I realize that I can not use the grass anywhere. Okay, here we have a little glitch with the tree, because they black out, or at least get darker once I zoom out, which sort of sucks. And it only happens with those, it doesn't happen with the other trees. But that's definitely something they'll fix for another patch, or at least I hope they do, because this doesn't look that good. Okay, so yeah, lining out the entrance a little bit better, because that sort of stresses the modern vibe, I guess. And then I'm moving over to the other side, and then slowly I'm just moving together, sort of. I'm not too sure what to do with the back part, so I'll just move to this side and create something here. I'll just turn this more into a park, I think. Maybe a little bit more playful, not as planned. Still trying to make it sort of like, I guess, like clinical and like fitting the open building vibe, I guess. or public building, I mean, not open. Well, yeah, depends what it is. I always or also adopted about or talked about the fact that this is not really a public building anyways, because vet clinics are, I believe, often like privately owned, but I'm not too sure about that, and that's actually also totally irrelevant, so I'm not going to continue talking about that. But for this part, there will be like a sort of a shift from like a regular path to a more like path like this one, because here you can sort of walk your dog. Maybe this can literally be like an open area where people who are walking here with their dog can walk here and then have a view over the marina. Would be sort of cool, so even people who don't have their pets in the vet clinic could walk here. That's just a thought. I'm not too sure if, yeah, I believe you can always enter any lot, right? Yes, you can. So it would be possible, I guess. I'm not too sure if they would be doing it the way I imagined it. But it doesn't really matter. I'm really feeling like I'm sort of talking nonsense in this episode, but that's simply because I really had no idea yet for the garden, so I had to come up with something, and then also I'm having a cold, so I'm really doing my best not to sneeze all the time, because then I have to cut it all out, and it sucks. So yeah, here we go. Whoops. So as you can see, not as planned. And then I'm adding some benches to this side. Maybe I can actually, like, I should probably just fill the entire thing up here now, because otherwise it sort of looks unplanned. And then I'll add some of these potted plants, or, well, we can also size these down now. I literally never used this one before, simply because they're always way too big. But now I can actually use it, maybe. Though I would have to figure out a way to edit, like, because of the foundation it sort of goes up, if you get what I mean. You probably just saw what happened. So I think I'll go for these ones, which are pretty cool as well, which I don't have to size down. And then I can combine those very well with these benches. So here we go. And then here all the people with their dogs and cats can sit down and just, you know, enjoy the view, I guess. Which is sort of strange, considering that back here there will be surgery done, but I guess they're not looking that way. And maybe this is like glass, which you can see through from the other sides or from inside, but not the other way around. I think that's just something those people who want to be realistic about the world will have to consider. So then here I want to add some places to relax as well. Maybe I will actually, yeah, it would be sort of strange to add a bonfire, wouldn't it? Or just like some kind of campfire, chill area. Adding a barbecue, you know, for like, okay, I'm not going to go too much into that stuff. I think I'll just add some benches or some sitting areas. I'm really not too sure about this, what I should add, because it sort of feels like, yeah, because it is such a crazy modern build, it is sort of hard to come up with a plan for it that fits that modernness, I guess. But in the end it will work out, I promise. Just using the same plants as we used on the other side, just to, you know, create some similarities. Which is also important, because if you use like different plants all the time, that's just a little tip from me, just don't do that, because using different plants all the time just turns your garden into a huge mess. And it is actually really cool if you like create some parallelism between like different parts of the garden by adding like different or adding the same plants every now and then. So that is just a little tip from me. Also, I don't like the color of this path, actually. It's sort of stupid because I just spent ages adding it. But I think it's better if I use a little bit of a more modern path, because otherwise it isn't like very neat. So that doesn't really fit the style of the clinic. And then also the color is like too traditional. And now it isn't a neat path, so it is sort of free and natural, but still it fits the clinic because it is like gray, like the rest of the clinic is. So that would fit it better, in my opinion, because otherwise it's just very strange. So here we go. I've got to make sure that you don't see the old path under it, which is always sort of a hard thing to do. So here we go. Oh, there I screwed up. Yep, let's go. Then I'm going to add some plants over here as well, because otherwise that is just like not very colorful. And we have enough seating, I think, already. Okay, 4 benches, which is sort of an overkill, but it does sort of look cool. And I mean, on a nice day, who wouldn't want to sit here with like a nice view over the sailing boats and that little village on the other side of the lake, or the water generally? I would know. I would want to sit there. So then you need to have enough sitting area, sitting spaces, seats, I guess. Okay, you know what? I think I'll end the episode here. The garden is not finished yet, don't worry about it, but really like to see some feedback on the garden from you. Also, next time I hope to be back without a cold, because I noticed that recording is just sort of hard in this way, and I'm sort of talking nonsense. And generally I would like to hear some feedback from you with regards to what we've done so far, and also maybe some cool suggestions for the garden. So let me know in the comments down below, and then I hope to see you back in that next episode, and definitely in the comment section of this one. Goodbye.